All right, welcome to another episode of Local Business Unboxed, where we uncover the stories behind the local businesses that drive our economy. I'm John Almus, and today we're joined by Kate and Theo of the Market Square Bakehouse in Amesbury, right down the road from our office here. And they took over in 2023, and they have an interesting backstory, and they bring fresh energy and ideas, and it's grown quite a bit. So welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Tell us a little bit about the bakehouse, how you took over. I've been going there since I moved to Amesbury. So I was interested to see when someone was buying it, if it would change. It really hasn't changed. It's still great.
Thank you.
But tell us about how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, well, I'll let Kate take the first part of this because she was the one who knew about it and kind of made the whole thing happen.
Yeah. I was a day one fan. So Tanya opened the bakehouse in 2014. So it just had its 10-year birthday.
Oh, wow.
In November and December. And when Tanya opened it, I was just moving back home. I'm from Merrimack. This is kind of like my town. And I was just coming back home from living in Charleston, South Carolina, going to school there. And I instantly fell in love with the bakehouse. I mean, like, nobody else in Amesbury was doing what the bakehouse was doing in 2014. And I just remember being like, yes, this is what our town needed. Like, we needed something like this. And I fell in love with it. So Tanya opened it 10 years ago. Tanya's just like an amazing, creative, brilliant, honestly, she's like a visionary. She came to Amesbury and was like, this is what needs to happen here.
Did you guys know her before?
No.
Okay.
No, she's not from here. She's from, actually, I don't know where she's from.
I mean, all over the world, South Africa, Italian family, but lived in and grew up in South Africa for a while.
Yeah.
Is that where you're from?
Actually, no, it's funny. A lot of people actually thought there was some type of family bond between Tanya and I. No, I'm from London originally.
Okay.
Yep. London, American mother. So
And I dragged him back here.
Yeah.
So now he's stuck.
So sorry to interrupt. Yeah. So
it's
Tanya
good.
was doing something
Tanya,
really cool.
Yeah, she was like, she wanted to build community Amesbury, and she was like, there's no coffee shop culture here, and really there was just nobody else doing it. So I fell in love with it. I was a day one customer back in 2014, and she really just like saw the vision of just creating the space. She found the space, she built it out, and I mean, we can get more into that later. But
How would you describe the feel? I know I've been going there since I moved to Amesbury, but it's
The
like
feel?
unique for sure.
It's certainly unique. I would say it's just like one of the most comfortable central spaces to go hang out, work in town. And like the space is a really key factor to the success of the bakehouse. Like geographically where it is in town, but also just like the way it's built out, the vibes, the energy.
yeah, no, they always say, location, 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 and it's true. It that in and of itself is such a huge factor in the success of the bakehouse, but also the building, converted old carriage mills. You've got the incredibly tall ceilings.
So much history.
A lot of light coming into the building.
Tanya always said she picked the space because it was on the sunny side of the street.
Yeah.
So
I can see that. Yeah.
And no, it's cozy. It's inviting. You can come sit there for 5 hours out of your day, take a little table, pull up your laptop, and you what people have told me is that they don't feel like they get distracted at the bakehouse. Which,
Before I had this space, I used to work there. Yeah.
which seems a little crazy to me because there are times when it gets so packed and the line and everything like that. But I think there's that level of just, as Kate said, it's the community. People come in there and they know they're probably going to see some people that they know, say hello, say good morning, still get about their day, but they also don't feel like they're just in a blank space.
So what brought you to decide to want to buy a bakehouse, a restaurant, or cafe?
So I was working in corporate and moved. So I moved back home here, and then I moved back to New York City, and I was working in corporate. And I decided that I wasn't happy in corporate, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with my career. But growing up, my dad owned his own business, and I had seen a lot of friends that owned businesses, and I knew I wanted to do something on my own, but I wasn't sure exactly what that would look like. And so I went back to business school, got my MBA, and just like basically reset myself, like just to give myself space from the grind, right? Like, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? And I got to meet some really cool people. I learned some really amazing things about how to manage and run a business in school that I didn't know before. And while I was in school, Theo was also living in New York City. working in hospitality management. So he was managing for a hospitality company that owned multiple bars in Manhattan.
And you guys
Yes.
met at that point?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
Okay,
met
yeah, yeah.
while
While we were
Kate
living
was
in New York.
While Kate was in business school. I just moved back to New York, and I'd taken over. I was running a couple of these
Yeah.
bars in Manhattan, down on the Lower East Side, and
And what I will say about that, when we come back to community, is like what I saw Theo doing in New York was in one of the biggest cities.
Right.
You can create community with space, with comfortable, cozy,
Yeah.
inviting space. That's like he would create many different communities in little neighborhoods in New York City, and it was awesome. And
yeah,
And
and
s-
that's
yeah.
that's what I loved. I've always loved that aspect of that side of the business, of being able to constantly be around and create these relationships with people who oftentimes you're going out for a reason, and you want to not be remembered, but be recognized, and know that you have somewhere where, again, like the bakehouse.
humans love routine.
Yeah, humans love
Yeah.
routine,
Routine,
and for us, that was something that was kind of missing when I first moved back to New York for this bar. That it didn't have its own character, it didn't have its own community, and that's what I was kind of able to build there. And I myself have, on that side, always thought I would like to do my own thing at one point. Again, I didn't.
And we didn't know what that would look like.
No.
And we've always talked about, we want to do something. We have very opposite skills. I have more business admin skills, and he has hospitality, team management, customer service, just complete opposite.
Very different, yeah.
Which
Very
is
different.
which is great, right? Which is great. So this opportunity kind of came up. I had become friends with Tanya over the years, and
From just going there.
just from going
Yeah.
there, from being in town all the time. She knew my dad and my dad's friends. It's just, total townie. And I knew she was trying to move on from the business for just various reasons that you move on after doing something for so long. And we jumped at the chance to kind of engage in that. But the transition plan was long. It took a long time. And it started off with Theo coming into the bakehouse as a GM for a little while to not only learn the basics of the business, but just to get to know the space. He had never lived in Amesbury, he had never been here. But we knew that
So it's kind of like a hire to test it out, or just
Yeah.
part of the plan?
Well, actually, it wasn't actually part of the plan. It was a.
well, there was no plan.
yeah.
I mean, it was almost a happy coincidence, and things happened for a reason. I think when we were pretty much almost at the end goal of purchasing the business, of everything. This is what we're getting, and everything like that. And at the beginning, what we knew we were buying was a full functioning business. It had a GM and the staff and everything like that. About a month before we were coming back, I actually remember we were on our honeymoon when we got the call. Tanya let us know that the GM had decided to move on, and she wanted to know what we wanted. Should she fast try and speed hire someone, get them onboarded, things like that. And I think Kate and I, it was that perfect opportunity where we looked at each other and
let's
said,
go. Let's do it.
Let's go. One, no, we don't want somebody also new coming in. I'm going to be there. I would much rather learn this way. This is how, trial by fire of being able to come in. I think, one, it helped me a lot to be able to learn the business from the ground up. And also, I think it was really, really good for both the staff and all the regulars of having someone come in, and nobody knew that I was buying the business, that we were buying the business. All Tanya said was, this is a new manager coming in to take over.
Would you say, was it kind of like a leap of faith a little bit at that point?
No, I knew the business really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly,
Yeah.
it was a leap of faith for Tanya,
For like,
Yeah.
because as the seller,
big decision.
Yeah.
big decision because we hadn't closed on the deal yet. And so it meant that I was going to have the opportunity to come in and really see the ins and outs, of how it was actually working. And obviously you can paint a certain picture on paper and, this and this and that.
Right.
So as I think it was more a leap of faith on Tanya's end.
I mean, all in all, I knew the business. We had a trusting relationship with Tanya. And
Yeah.
so I think the opportunity hit us at the right time when we were ready to make a lifestyle change. And
It was a good fit.
it was a good fit.
Yeah.
And like I said, Theo needed to kind of be in the space and
Yeah, it
learn-
wasn't-
learn this community, go from
Exactly.
one New York community to a community here,
Yeah.
which I already knew this community and had been a part of for many years of my life. So I was excited to bring them back.
Yeah.
And it's been great. Like the community here is better than ever. It's growing, it's changing. You've seen it if you've been here since
Yeah.
2016. You
Yeah.
know how much has changed in just the past 5 years.
Yeah.
And
I-
we're excited to be a part of that growth. And like you said, not much has changed at the bakehouse, but things are changing. We are doing a lot behind the scenes without just like, we love the bakehouse as it is, but we want the bakehouse to be better, stronger, more healthy than ever, so it lasts for a long time through the growth and the expansion of Amesbury.
How do you balance the tradition and like the feel versus how you want to evolve and change it?
Doing it slow,
Yeah.
doing it really slow.
I think
Yeah.
I think that's something that Tanya was always adamant about, and Kate has certainly been adamant about. I'm a little more of the creative. I like to have a little bit of fun and try and bring certain new things to the scene because people do. So we're closed one day of the year, Christmas Day.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, wow.
And
Every
if
day.
we were open Christmas Day, I think there would be a good
People would
bunch of
go.
people
Yeah.
that would come to the bakehouse 365 days out of the year. They're obviously coming for the space and for what they love, and I think something that has made
Coffee's good too.
That's great.
The coffee's fantastic, and that is a huge shout out to one Kaha Roasters.
Tyler, right?
Tyler
Tyler.
Workman.
He is literally right down the street. He roasts those beans right down the street. It is so hyper local. I mean, he comes in every day, and we'll see where we are in terms of how much we're going through, what we need to adapt to.
And I've lived in many cities and many places, and no matter what, I always want to come back to I always
Yeah.
wanted to come back to the Bakehouse Coffee and Kaha, and that just shows you like what a high quality product can do, and yeah.
Is that the only brand of coffee in
We
there?
also use
So we have
counterculture.
counterculture, which
Okay.
has a much wider scope nationally. You'll see their beans. I've seen them in New York at coffee shops, things like that. They're one of the top companies that again are so focused on the fair trade and harvesting from farms that are properly sourced and run and everything like that. And so they've got a very big following, which obviously helps people know it. I would say
I think that was
it's-
a part of Tanya's initial marketing and branding was
Yeah.
bringing counterculture to kind of attract that brand of coffee lover.
Okay.
Yeah, an
Yeah.
elevated coffee, not just Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks. Yeah.
Right.
What are some of like the staples? So we touched on the coffee.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have like great lunch sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
The breakfast wrap is delicious. What are some of the top sellers? Like how do you work? What's
Breakfast
the menu insight?
Absolutely.
Vision.
So breakfast wraps are
Yeah,
definitely
that's
the
our
top
top seller. 2024 bestseller, breakfast wrap.
And those, they're great because there's no time of day where it's not good to have one. Obviously, it's breakfast, but it's easy to come in and grab it. And you have the different variations, so it kind of hits kind of everybody's scope.
I think the menu was built out to kind of like have an all-day cafe vibe. So like you come in for coffee, but people sometimes want coffee at 2 p.m. So you need
Right.
a lunch sandwich. So the menu is built out to kind of accommodate that breakfast through lunch mentality. Everything is prepped the day of in the morning, and then all the sandwiches are panini pressed. So it's like the flow of operations, which we're still working on streamlining that. That's part of our future goals right now. But the goal is to make it so like we're not cooking made to order sandwiches. It's just to
Right.
push it out
Quicker.
in a fast way, but still high quality
And fresh, yeah.
and fresh.
Yeah.
Fresh and consistent. Those are
But not we don't have a full kitchen, so we're not doing made to order sandwiches where you're taking your order and we're going to go make it. So it's just a different business model than like going to your average like breakfast or lunch restaurant.
I'll see people in the back making sandwiches
Yeah.
sometimes. And
Prepping.
So, it's- yeah.
and that's the thing. You've got Matt who's back there every day. Crushes the sandwiches and
Prep,
the panini, the
yeah.
prep. No, it's nonstop. Both prep and the bakers.
And being open every day of the year.
Being
besides
open
Christmas.
every day.
But that's
it
a
never
key,
stops.
another key success that we wanted to touch on today, which is just the consistency of the bakehouse, right? Like no business can be that consistent with high quality product and high quality environment and presence and service 364 days of the year without a really strong team, without burning out, right?
Right.
Like no business owner in any type of business can provide consistent high quality service for 364 days a year.
It must be tough. What are some of the biggest challenges of running, maybe that you didn't expect or that maybe you knew from experience? Or
Yeah. I was going to say, I think we knew what they were going to be coming into it, not shocked at all. And I think it all focuses around the team.
Yeah, that's something that I've always taken in the highest regard is my team. When I first got back to New York and took over the bar, I was able to build the team up from there. It was right after COVID. And I saw I was able to see firsthand how crucial having that support from the whole team is, and you have to find ways to make them want to be part of it. And that honestly comes a lot with just trust.
Trust, building relationships. Because, you can have talented employees who have been a barista for 20 years and they know what they're doing, but unless they respect us and trust us and we have that two-way relationship, it's not really a good fit. And so we've definitely taken on the team challenge, and I think we make it our top priority to just invest in the team. A lot of our employees have been here for many years. Some are new. And so finding that blend, and it evolves and it changes, and kind of creating just a solid foundation for a team is the only way the bakehouse can be as consistent as it is.
yeah, I'd say there's some new people in there, but I recognize some people who have been there forever.
No, forever. And I think, again, that's one of my top priorities every time I'm interviewing someone potentially new to come in is how will they fit with our team. It's a very small space. It's an open it's an open kitchen. So when you come in there and you sit at the table with your laptop and you're just trying to work, part of that atmosphere that's getting created is because of the team and how they interact with each other and how they communicate and how they feel. Because, I'm not an idiot. I know people have tough days.
We're all human.
We're all human. And I'm also know that this is my business. This is not their business. They are coming in there to, ultimately at the end of the day, they're here to get a paycheck because they have other interests in life. We've got half of our team who want to learn more about the business and get more ingrained in the business. And those are kind of more our managers and things like that who really want to double down and grow with the business. But then obviously everybody else, they've got other interests. They've got other passions that they want to pursue. They have to come into work. So I want to create an environment for that work to be at least 80% of the time, you're really happy to be there. Obviously, you have your days where it's just tough, but if you get along well with the people that you're with, if you have, and what I try to foster is everybody's got ideas, and especially in a small space like that, it's easy to stick with something that you've been doing for so long because that's how it's been done and that's how it works. But sometimes all it takes is a different eye to be like, what if we do something this way? And a lot of the time, I'm sure I'm there a lot of the days, most days, but these people are there every day and they're the ones working and they're the ones that see maybe if we did this, it would help the team or it would make things easier. And
But for ideas to be heard and listened to, you need to create a culture that's open-minded. And that's hard. It's hard to do. I mean, we try to do it every day, but it's hard. Yeah.
How big is it? You have 10 employees, 20? 13?
13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But it kind of fluctuates. Obviously, we're in a slow season now. Summer, we usually hire anywhere from 1 to 3 additional people just to get through the summer rush, people who are on college vacation, things like that.
Yeah.
Nice. So what's it like running a restaurant? At the end of the day, I mean, I'm sure you're busy. You have a young baby.
Yeah. Every day is different.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
Every day is different. Every week is different, depending on, like you were saying, we're all human. We never are the same every week of the year for the whole year. So some weeks are really hard. Some weeks are easier and they flow better and things are going right. And some weeks are just slammed or it's a holiday. And so I think it's really just being flexible is a key to that.
The number one question I do get asked a lot ever I just started talking with someone, usually when I'm out walking my dog and happens to come on that conversation, oh, what do you do? Oh, we own a coffee shop. Everyone asks, oh, how long do you spend in there? Are you there every day? How do you manage that?
The hours must be
that
crazy.
balance?
That's what everyone says to us.
And it can be, for sure. The things happen in life where, yes, I'm the first one that'll be in there when there's an emergency. But when we were talking about buying a business and doing this, we did it for the reason that we wanted to create something for ourselves, but also we were both getting out of the grind of
just nonstop.
Yeah. I mean, especially in the nightlife. It was just a completely different thing. And so we wanted to get a good life work balance.
Yeah.
And part of that, again, and this is why I harp on it so much, is our team, my team, is my top priority at all times. Because
they make our customers happy.
Yeah, they make our customers happy. And if my customer's happy, I'm happy.
Yeah.
So it all flows.
Then it all works.
Customers, team,
It all flows back around. And no, it's as I said, it's that community spot. I think
for me, I'm just like happy to be building something that I'm proud of, like something that's not just work to work, right? Like I love that we can choose what to prioritize and what we think is best, and we can run a business like ethically and responsibly and productively, and that we have control over that. Yes, it's hard. It's incredibly hard. Everything we're doing is hard, right?
That's fulfilling, yeah.
But it's fulfilling, and it's so it's been hard and fun.
Yeah.
Hard and fun. And I'm excited for the future too. What
do you think? Let's talk about marketing for a second.
Yeah.
So what's it like marketing a cafe? That's kind of out of my realm, obviously, with what we do.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see like your challenges, like how do you innovate?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, when we took over we redid the website.
Okay.
I think one of the hardest parts is like always having professional marketing materials available, because things are changing. We have seasonal drinks, seasonal food. So like we can get a photographer in there once a year, like take photos, and we can show people our photos. But really it's just like, I mean, we use social media. I try to do the social media and just try to be as authentic as possible. Like, here, this is what's going on in our space today. And, come
I think that works
out.
best these days anyway.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think, and Kate's definitely been the leader of our social media. And it takes a lot of work because you have to create that presence. But also one of the things, we've had professional photos taken and things like that. But one thing that Kate has always harped on is when you're on Instagram and you just see generic, obviously professionally done photos that just pop up, very generic tagline.
Yeah.
It's
scheduled. An AI thing is scheduled.
Yeah. And that's a common theme. The last few guests, we've all been talking about what works best, restaurant or not, and it's just always the authentic.
Yeah.
Real.
People don't, like 5 years ago or pre-COVID, that professional high-level stuff was like all you needed, but I don't think so anymore.
I don't think so. I felt just like an intense rejection against it when I was talking to like our, people that we were trying to use for marketing, and I just wanted it to be like real. And at the end of the day, this community, in particular, the Bakehouse community in Amesbury, it's all like word of mouth. Everything that's happening is going to get around and flow, whether it's through social media, through friends, through business owners groups. So like, I think at the end of the day, it's just like producing your product. It markets itself, at least in our little niche, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and the one big thing and one of our big targets, which we always wanted to hit when we first bought the business, but we focused on 2024, and I'm happy we got it, was merch.
Merchandise.
And because ultimately that is a great way.
It's a conversation
It's a conversation starter, Kate went to yoga yesterday. She was wearing her Market Square Bakehouse crew.
It's like a brand. It's just we would like to develop the brand more.
Yeah. Okay.
But like I think to do that, it's just again slow. We talked about trends in preparing for this, because you had mentioned like, oh, we want to talk about industry trends, right? And I feel like generally we're also slow to adopt to trends, and just I think moving about changing your business in any direction, depending on whatever is happening in the economy or the community, like moving slow and doing things really thoughtfully and only if they really make sense for a long time is like a big focus for me. It's like go slow.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you do on social media though? Do you just kind of post stories, or what would you
Yeah.
say works best?
I would say, it's mostly updates. It's just like to show the space. Like right now, this is we're selling. This is our scone of the month. This is our drink special. Like, yeah, it's freezing outside. It's 10 degrees right now, but it's warm in here and it's cozy and there's people working and like, here's a shot of that. And like, I think we can do much better job of building that out in 2025. That is one of our goals, but it is really hard. The other thing is I find that a lot of businesses in Amesbury, like the owner of the business is also the face of the social media. And I don't really want that to be for the bakehouse because it's not about me. It's not about Theo. The bakehouse is the community.
These people don't usually see you like all the time when they go in as much as they see the employees or the space.
Yeah, like we don't want it to be someone's face. Like bakehouse is for the community, by the community. The employees are part of the community. It's for the community. It is what the community needs it to be. Like we've got our pulse on what's going on around us without like us talking about our daily, behind the scenes. So I think we struggle a little bit with that, with like making social media about us versus the brand. And I think I think we've decided we wanted to just be the brand.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you could probably, ideas come to my head when I talk about marketing.
Yeah.
Just like
give them to us.
Coffee being made, just little snippets. I'm sure your employees don't always want to be on camera, but like
they
to
don't.
the extent that they do.
We have amazing employees and they don't want to be on camera.
Especially during busy times. It's probably like, get that out of my face.
Yeah. Some do, some don't. But no, it helps to see sort of the inner workings of, the espresso getting pulled, how this, the A to Z of the scones getting done and things like that. We can always work on that, definitely.
You could do like a close-up of a panini press with the sizzle sound.
Yeah.
Just like a 5-second video
exactly.
and some text or something.
Yeah.
But we're lucky also, we've got a lot of people who run business in the town. They'll come in and they'll post. And so we do a lot of reposting as well.
I was going to say that. I noticed that.
I think just is, again, a very authentic way of just
for the community, by the community.
Yeah, user-generated content.
Exactly.
It's the space is what the people make it, right? Like we take care of the space and we organize it and we try to make it as efficient and as best as it can be. But at the end of the day, it's the people that change the space and make it. Like our regulars are in there every day and their personalities fill the space and they make it an inviting place. Like if it was just empty, it wouldn't be what it is.
Right.
Yeah. And we've got people all the time, just again, not even just our staff, but people who are in there every day who are like, oh, maybe if you guys did this, or, somebody's constantly reaching over me to grab a bag of retail coffee.
Let's move it.
We're
like, okay.
And again, I'm so happy to listen to people because I think that's something that was so useful when I first came into the space. Is it was a fresh eye, and so there were things that I were just able to look at and question and be like, why do we do it this way? Not that it doesn't make sense, but
could it be better?
Could it be better?
Yeah.
And absolutely.
Things can always be better because they're always evolving and changing.
Right.
And you only do what you can do.
But that's why, slow to adopt trends. Yeah. It's been quite interesting actually watching places, especially somewhere like Starbucks. Okay, giant in the coffee industry. I'd say we're very different things, but they just had a new CEO take over because they've not been doing that well. And what you'll see now is if you'll watch like cable TV, one of the Starbucks commercial comes in, no longer is it flashy, quick, high energy, come check out our charged energy, like weird, like they're back to basics.
More relaxed.
It's very simple.
Okay.
Coffee
As you said,
culture.
showing a shot of espresso. They're trying to bring back the cortado.
Which is a basic.
Which is a basic, but it's a staple for us.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're really trying to go
like no
back.
more oil coffee.
But they're trying to go back to what we never
left.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which is good quality, consistent coffee. At the end of the day, they're a coffee shop. They're not a, you Dunkin' Donut.
They're a completely different business model, though.
Yeah. Yeah, for us, it's a
course.
completely different business model.
There's one actually, I think, opening up. in
There
town.
is. There is.
Do you think that'll change
A lot
anything?
of people have asked us that, and I think there's a need for a Starbucks. If you're road tripping and you
Yeah.
got to get off the highway,
by the
'cause-
highway
Yeah,
anyway.
you
Exactly.
need coffee. Just go grab it. That's not the bakehouse. We don't even have parking. We're a walkable, destination. It's just totally different. But yes, people ask us all the time, "Hey, did you hear there's a Starbucks coming?" I'm like, "Yes, I heard.
Well, that's a compliment that it probably won't change anything.
I don't think so.
I don't.
It's just different.
It's
just
different. Every now and again, will somebody be like, you know what? I'm in a rush. I would have walked down to the bakehouse, but I've got to get out here. So why don't I just get in my
Sure.
car and drive?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But again, I don't want people to come into the bakehouse because it's their only option.
Yeah.
Right.
I want them to know that they have options and choose to come to the bakehouse because it's the best.
And Amesbury is growing. There's always going to be more. The more options and businesses that are here, the better it is for all
Absolutely,
of us.
for everyone.
And there's been a really supportive culture, I feel like, among business owners in Amesbury lately.
there is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really supportive. It's amazing to be a part of it. Yeah.
Any other innovations? I think you mentioned like coffee subscription in the pre-chat. Is that something you're just like mulling over, or like what other ways?
Theo has lots of creative ideas, and I
Always.
try to keep him grounded.
Yeah, that's a good mix.
Well, I always joke between the two of us, we've got one full working brain. No, it's very, she is very, I'm very creative and sort of detail oriented, and she's much more big picture, like business orientated, and how we can do that. But sure, I'm always going to have ideas, and I'll always listen and see what interesting things are happening.
Some New York City coffee shops are doing subscription models.
Yeah. I think that that's something that we would never even think about looking at until that you have multiple locations where, again, you want to try and foster more customer retention and things like that. When somewhere like New York, you have a pretty decent coffee place on pretty much every corner of the city. So for them, what for these bigger companies, what works? And I think my brother certainly, when he was having his time in New York, loved it. You'd go down and you had two pricing models, essentially, one for the basics, which wouldn't include any pastries, but you could just get drip coffee, espresso, or an Americano for like $9 a week. And you could get every 2 hours, you could go get a drink.
Oh, wow.
It maxed out at, I think, 14 a week.
That's a lot.
It's crazy.
It's 2 a day. Yeah.
It's a lot. Now, obviously, then the higher subscription, which I think was $16.99, included cold brew. Now, none of these included lattes or any of your fancier caramel macchiato,
Right.
all that stuff. It's the basics.
It's trending, though.
But it's trending, and I'll always look at these things and see, would this work for us at this time? No.
And
No.
then I come in, I usually say no.
That's good to have someone to bounce ideas off of.
Oh, it is, and she'll always listen to my crazy ideas. Sometimes she'll give me a smile and she'll be like, "That's actually quite interesting." Sometimes she'll just shut it down, and I'll be like, "Okay, thank you."
What do you think about the future? Like, I don't know if I want to call them trends, but like preferences. I think you mentioned different kinds of milk and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, we're as Kate said, we're slow to adopt trends, but we're always going to keep a pulse on what the town and what the community wants.
Yeah.
We've seen in the past few years, a lot more people are adopting the alternative milk styles, and almond. Oat's always been the top.
Specifically like cold foam drinks, things like that.
Cold foam is one of those things that we've adopted trend-wise that I think is, again, one of those small little things that adds just a little something different. I think, again, as a place serving the whole community, you're going to have your people that love their coffee and can taste good coffee and want to have good coffee. You're also going to have people who love caffeine but don't like coffee. And so, they want it, but they wanted something a little extra.
At the end of the day, all of those things aside, and like trying to keep up with like the fun stuff that we do that's like creative and fun, our goal for the bakehouse is for it to be the bakehouse for as long as it possibly can. Like I really believe that it's an anchor in town, and it brings community. I love the community. And we want to do things like maybe in the future you could order online to beat the line.
I was going to ask that.
It's like that was originally one of our goals we thought we were going to take care of really quickly, but it's ending up to be a little bit more complicated in the space than we thought. So in time, I think we'll get there. It also just changes the dynamic and the flow of the space.
Right. I'm sure if it's busy already and then you
Yeah.
have online stuff coming in.
Yeah.
And then you have your thing of, okay, so somebody's ordered online, and so that ticket pops up, and so the barista's taking care of that ticket, but you've got someone who's walked in, spent their time to walk in, and then
Right.
maybe they're waiting behind that ticket. There are a bunch of different things that you really do have to consider.
You can call ahead, can you?
You can call
Yeah.
ahead. You can
Yeah.
call ahead, and that's very easy for us to do.
So it's about strategy and like, what do you want the space to feel like? Do you want to feel like your space is full of just online mobile order tickets and people coming in and out, or do you want to continue fostering that like space where people come in to meet friends and talk and work? So we have to figure that out in the future. I think at the end of the day, we just want the bakehouse to keep running as smoothly and efficiently as possible, without getting burnt out. We want to create something that can last for a long time.
I've never thought like, hey, I wish this place took online orders.
That's good. Thank you.
Well, that's great.
We have a lot of people that tell us that they'll stay away when the lines are long, and I totally get that.
Yeah, it can get kind of busy around lunchtime, like especially on a weekend.
On a weekend.
Yeah.
It really can, and
The space is just too small for us to figure out how to bust the line at this point. It's high quality. The espresso drinks take a while. The sandwiches are, freshly made that day and pressed to order. So like it takes
a few
time
minutes.
for
Yeah,
those
yeah.
things. And those are things we do hope to solve. And it may take us like I said, I think it takes a long time.
while.
So
Well, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
It's certainly a great problem to have. But and these are the challenging things, but also something that I find fun of it's like a puzzle and trying to figure out how you can move a few pieces around to create a better picture.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we just keep working to always make it a better place, hopefully for the community and for ourselves to be there. And for most importantly, our staff, because we want them to be the happiest out of everybody because they're the key.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, if you haven't tried the bakehouse, you should. You guys are right down. Is it 5 Market Square? Or right in
Yes.
Market
5
Square in
Market Square,
Amesbury.
yeah.
I think I remember the 5 right above your door.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely check out the
Thank you.
bakehouse.
Thank you.
I think the biggest takeaways from today were that community and your team are like the backbone of everything.
Absolutely.
But it was good to hear your story.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. This is
hopefully-
fun.
Yeah, this was fun. This was a blast.
love it.
I've been going to the bakehouse forever, so it's good to get a little bit of a behind the scenes look.
Yeah.
I was going to say the best places to find you on Instagram. Are you on Facebook?
We are on Facebook.
We're on Facebook.
Those two.
And our website.
And your website. Thanks for listening to another episode of Local Business Unboxed. Follow us on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube for the video. And check the show notes for links to the website. And we'll see you guys next time.